The movie opens up with a young man slowly walking through a dark street. He eventually stops walking and begins scrubbing a stain on the ground with a cloth. The stain is of blood, which the young man struggles to clean no matter how hard he scrubs. The scene cuts to the young man on a flight to Brussels, and he is instructed by an older-looking male that if he is questioned by anyone, he responds by informing them that he cannot speak French. The young man isn't alone. He appears to be part of a group with several other young men. Their objective unknown. Lo Kyoan is the name of the young man, and he gets through passport checks without a problem once he lands in Brussels. Once out of the airport, he asks the older man who was instructing him on the plane for a lift to a certain address. The older man, named Yoon Cheol, agrees in exchange for 40 euros, which Lo Kyoan accepts. However, once they arrive at the destination, Yoon hands him back his money, explaining that he doesn't want any bad luck for taking money from Lo Kyoan, and gives him his contact details before taking his leave. Lo Kyoan arrives at an immigration center, where he is instructed to fill out a form, though he struggles as he doesn't understand the language. He then meets with an interpreter, who translates for him during the immigration interview. Lo Kyoan states that he is from North Korea, though at one point he and his family moved to China, and now he finds himself in Belgium. The immigration officer asks him how he got the money to even contemplate starting a new life in Belgium, to which Lo Kyoan answers that it was from his mother. In a flashback, Lo Kyoan remembers living with his mother in China. The two of them only had each other and lived in poverty. His mother would work, and Lo Kyoan would remark how ashamed he feels of himself that his mother is working, and he is not. However, his mother states that she is proud of him, as he stood up to his old employer for beating one of his co-workers and subsequently was fired. He remembers that one particular day, it was his birthday, and his mother went to work while he stayed at home, while she was busy working. The police came to her workplace looking for her. Back at the interview, he is asked if he is pretending to be North Korean to receive state benefits given to defectors, which he denies. The interpreter informs him that the interview is over, and the second will be in February, which is later than he expected. Lo Kyoan is surprised by this, as he knows this means he will have a hard time finding work and has nowhere to go. The interpreter gives him a look of sympathy, but asks he hang in there before leaving. As he's leaving the immigration center, Lo Kyoan sees a poster for a cheap hostel nearby, which he ends up staying at. Later that night, he is sitting on his bunk bed as he checks a blood-stained wallet with a picture of his mother inside, as well as some blood-stained cash. Lo Kyoan is in the bathroom freshening up, and he is shocked to come back and see a couple being intimate on his bed, on top of his belongings. He tries to gather his things from underneath them, but the male forcefully kicks him out and locks the door. After a while, Lo Kyoan comes back into the room and is disappointed to see that the man is sleeping on his bed. Not wanting to start a confrontation, he takes his things and tries to find a place to sleep for the night, and ends up sleeping in the bathroom. The next morning, he rummages through some bins to find food to eat and something to drink. He ends up eating some moldy bread, as well as drinking some water from discarded water bottles, though this ends up making him vomit. Later that day, as he's walking through the street, he spots a homeless man exchanging glass bottles for money at a shop nearby. Lo Kyoan follows suit and gathers some bottles, which he exchanges for cash and buys himself some food. However, he is still having to spend his night in the same cubicle he did the night before. The next day, he spends the day gathering even more glass bottles, so much so that even the shopkeeper who pays him for them is impressed. Lo Kyoan then uses the cash to buy himself more supplies, but is devastated to realize that the cubicle he has been spending his nights in has been shut down for maintenance. He decides to walk around the park, where he spots a fire which he decides to warm himself at. Just then, some hoodlums attack him and throw his shoes into the pond. Lo Kyoan tries to get his shoes, but ends up having to go into the freezing water for them. Now freezing and injured from being attacked by the hoodlums, Lo Kyoan wanders into a laundrette, where he sits on the floor and falls unconscious. The scene cuts to another flashback, just after the police arrive at his mother's workplace. They inform her that they are looking for her son, though his mother denies that she knows who they are referring to, and as she does so, her younger brother intervenes and attempts to distract the officers so his sister can get away. Just then, Lo Kyoan arrives at his mother's workplace to bring her an umbrella, as he noticed it had begun to snow. However, this was a mistake, as the police officers see him and chase after him and his mother. Lo Kyoan's uncle runs after them to assist his family, though before he can reach them, Lo Kyoan's mother is struck as she and her son are running across the road. Her injuries end up being fatal, and her brother and son attempt to save her. but she ends up stuck under the truck. In her final words, she asks her son to leave and live his life, and his uncle urges him to do the same before the police end up catching them. Reluctantly, Lo Kyun runs away with tears in his eyes. Back at the laundrette, Lo Kyun is still unconscious when he has his wallet stolen by a young Chinese woman named Marie Lee. Later, both Marie and Lo Kyun are at the police station, where he asks the young lady for his wallet, though she denies she has it. However, Lo Kyun refuses to take no for an answer, rage overtaking him as he informs Marie that the money inside that wallet was obtained by his uncle, who sold his mother's body to a hospital. In a flashback, Lo Kyun recalls his uncle revealing that he sold his mother's corpse to a hospital, as that was what she wanted, in exchange for money for her son. However, Lo Kyun was devastated and almost attempted to take his own. Were he not stopped by his uncle, who reminded him that he had to live? The blood stain we see Lo Kyun at the start of the movie is where his mother was struck by the truck. He bursts into tears as he apologizes to his mother. At the police station, Marie begs Lo Kyun to drop the charges against her, as she already has a criminal record, and that she will get his wallet and all the money within it back for him if he does so. Lo Kyun is initially outraged by this suggestion, though he realizes that the wallet means more to him than Marie going to prison. As the two of them walk out of the police station, they are stopped by Marie's father, who apologizes to Lo Kyun for his daughter's crime and attempts to give him some money. However, Marie intercepts and hands the money back to him, asking him to stop pretending that he is a good person. The two of them end up going to a shady club, where Marie asks Lo Kyun to wait outside, as she will try to ask her friend for his wallet back. Once inside, Marie's friend is a local gangster, who is interrogating a journalist who has written some unsavory things about him. Mary's asks him if he can have the wallet back, but she is struck in the face by one of his henchmen. Cyril, the bar owner and gangster, informs Marie that he will give her back the wallet in exchange for a favor, which she reluctantly agrees to. Marie marches out of the club, and Lo Kyun is frustrated to see that she doesn't have his wallet with her. He asks her when he will get his wallet back, and she informs him that he'll get it next week, which he refuses to accept. Lo Kyun marches into the club and attempts to take back his wallet by force, but is stopped by Marie, as she knows that he would be murdered if he did so. Lo Kyun heads back with Marie to her apartment, where she asks him how he has been managing to survive on his own in a new country. He explains to her that he's been making enough to survive by recycling bottles, and that he won't find any work in this country. Marie writes an address for him on a piece of paper, stating that he will find work if he goes to this address tomorrow. She then asks him when his mother passed, and he reveals that it was last December. Marie asks if he feels lonely in the winter now, as she also lost her mother in the winter. Lo Kyun has a shower and is given some clean clothes, which Marie asks him to keep before he takes his leave. The next day, Lo Kyun is finally given a job at a meat factory. There, he meets a few other people who can speak Korean and Chinese just like him. However, not all of them are friendly, as some lock him in the freezer as a prank. There, he also meets a woman who invites him back to her apartment for some food, though Lo Kyun feels bad, as the woman stole the meat she makes for him. That night, for the first time he came to Belgium, Lo Kyun is able to sleep in a regular bed. Sometime in the near future, Marie fulfills her promise to Cyril. It is revealed that Marie is a target shooter and one of the best in the country, and that Cyril uses her talents to win big money on bets. In a flashback, we see that Marie was very close to her mother, and that her relationship with her father began to be strained when she found out her father euthanized her mother after she had fallen ill. Her father tried to explain his actions, however. Marie did not want to hear any explanation, instead accusing her father of murder, even if her mother was the one who requested it. Later, Cyril finds Marie in the bathroom, the match with her opponent going to the wire. He offers Marie a syringe, which Marie takes and injects with. Afterwards, she ends up winning her match and wins Cyril a lot of money, which prompts him to give Lo Kyun's wallet back to her. Marie meets up with Lo Kyun to give him back his wallet, which he is most pleased about. She then heads off home, but before she can do so, she is stopped by Lo Kyun, who asks her to eat with him. Lo Kyun acquires some meat and rice from his co-worker who steals meat regularly, and he and Marie, who is impressed by his cooking, share a meal in his small apartment. The day of Lo Kyun's immigration interview comes, but unfortunately, he is denied refugee status at this point, as the only evidence he has that he is from North Korea is a picture he has of himself and his mother when they lived there. He is also informed that there's a chance that he may be deported back to China, which he is devastated to hear. At work, Lo Kyun reluctantly asks his co-worker, who steals meat, Seonju, if she would be a witness in court to help him be granted refugee status. Seonju agrees in exchange for him buying her fish that night, which Lo Kyun does. At the fish market, Lo Kyun is attacked by a pair of drunken friends. He is pushed to the ground and mocked, but then one of the drunk men pushes him on the other, who falls and cuts him on a glass bottle. A woman screams that Lo Kyun is attacking her husband, and Lo Kyun is arrested, as he is accused of assault. Marie is informed by her father that one of the workers she recommended to work at his factory has been arrested, which makes her rush to the police station. Once she asks to see Lo Kyun, but is denied a visit when she admits that she has no relation to him. Marie is outraged and asked to calm herself by the police officers. But before she can escalate the situation, her father arrives and pays Lo Kyun's bail. Once out of jail, Lo Kyun attempts to speak to Marie, though she gives him the cold shoulder, stating that she has things to do. Lee Yaun-sung, Marie's father, hands Lo Kyun the business card of an immigration lawyer who may be able to help him. Lo Kyun thanks Lee. However, he is asked to not see his daughter anymore, as he believes that the two of them aren't good for one another. The day of Lo Kyun's appeal case has come, and he is excited about it, as he now has the help of the lawyer Lee had recommended to him. However, all is not smooth sailing, as the court states that the hospital that apparently bought his mother's corpse strongly denies these claims. Lo Kyun's case looks to be weakening, but then it takes a fatal blow when his key witness, Seonju, betrays him. Seonju, for some reason, tells the court that she believes that Lo Kyun was lying, and that she believes he's only pretending to be North Korean to obtain refugee status. Later at work, Lo Kyun confronts Seonju, asking why she betrayed him. He grabs the knife at her hand, clenching the blade firmly as blood drips from his hand. Seonju pleads with him to let go of the knife, as he's hurting himself. But Lo Kyun is more hurt by the betrayal of the person whom he believed was his friend. That evening, Lo Kyun arrives at Marie's apartment, though she refuses to let him in, as she has company. Lo Kyun, disappointed, takes his leave. Meanwhile, Cyril is the company Marie is hosting, and he hands her a packet of. Marie refuses to take them, stating she doesn't need them to win. This makes Cyril mad, who angrily tells her that she belongs to him before storming off. After Cyril leaves, Marie rushes out to find Lo Kyun, but is unable to do so. She ends up at his apartment, but is devastated to see that Lo Kyun has taken his belongings and moved, which makes her break down and cry. Lo Kyun ends up working at a restaurant. However, he goes back to spending his nights in a cubicle in the public toilets. Meanwhile, Marie cannot concentrate, and Cyril is devastated when she loses her next match by purposely missing the target. Marie marches out of the club, and Cyril forcefully stops her, though she informs him that he cannot stop her, nor has he any hold over her anymore, which infuriates him. Cyril is more enraged than usual, as this match was key in establishing a business partnership with a well-connected underground gambler named Jerd. The next day, Lo Kyun is taking out his bins when he is surprised to see Seonju show up to his workplace. Seonju attempts to apologize. However, Lo Kyun is not interested in hearing her out. She reveals that she is to be deported now that her visa has expired, and that before she leaves, she wants to explain her actions. Lo Kyun attempts to walk away, but Seonju stops him, revealing that the day before the court hearing, a man visited the meat factory threatening that whoever assisted Lo Kyun in his refugee case would lose their job. The workers then had to decide to save their livelihoods or assist Lo Kyun in obtaining refugee status, and they ended up choosing themselves and their families who depended on them. Lo Kyun says nothing and walks away, while Seonju bows to him before being escorted into the back of a car by the immigration police, and Lo Kyun watches his former friend leave forever. Later, Lo Kyun meets with his lawyer, who reveals to him that he reached out to a defectors support group who have agreed to advocate for him. He believes that they will help boost Lo Kyun's credibility and asks him not to lose hope just yet. Just then, he spots an invitation for a memorial service on the lawyer's desk. The memorial service is for Marie's mother, hosted by her father, Lee. Lo Kyun decides to show up at the church where the memorial service is being held, and Lee isn't too pleased to see him, as he asked him to stay away from his daughter after he paid his bail. Although Lo Kyun is insistent, asking if it would be okay if he were to stay and help with the service free of charge, Lee doesn't protest as Lo Kyun gets to work. During the service, it is revealed by Lee that his wife has been gone for 3 years, and he thanks all the guests for attending. However, a notable absence is his daughter, Marie. Just then, Marie suddenly bursts into the room, under the influence. Marie causes a scene in front of the guests, breaking several wine glasses while her father pleads with her to calm herself. She takes a shard of glass. Lee begs her to hand it over to him, and she threatens him to stay away from her. Suddenly, as Mary's is about to stab her with the shard of glass, Lo Kyun grabs her hand and takes the shard from her. Marie, shocked to see Lo Kyun again, and runs out of the church while all the guests are left stunned. Lo Kyun makes his way to Marie's apartment in a bid to comfort her. However, he is horrified to see smoke coming from out of her front door. He quickly breaks in and sees that Marie is completely out of it, and she has the kettle on while using with her friend. Lo Kyun expels her addict friend out of her apartment, takes the kettle off the stove, and tries to sober up Marie. When Lo Kyun realizes that Marie is unwilling to cooperate, he takes a packet filled with some harmful substance from her table and swallows the entire contents in a bid to force her back to her senses. Now realizing that he is in danger, Marie rushes to another friend's apartment to ask for an antidote, as he is on the floor having a seizure. She then rushes back to Lo Kyun and injects him with the antidote, which stops his body from shaking and brings him back to a stable condition. A few hours later, he regains consciousness, and Marie asks him why he decided to do what he did. Lo Kyun informs her that he will do it again if he ever finds Marie using substances. Marie apologizes for pushing him away, and Lo Kyun remarks that she's a kind person under her hard exterior. As Marie holds his hand, Lo Kyun asks her not to try to and to allow him to be her light. Shortly after, Lo Kyun and Marie are living together at her apartment. The new couple are doing much better, happy, and doing regular couple activities. One night, after the two of them are intimate with one another, Lo Kyun opens up to his new girlfriend. He admits that he blames himself for his mother's passing, and that if he had not made the mistakes he did, she may still be alive. Marie assures him that it wasn't his fault, and that he never deserved all the hardships he has had to face up until now. The day of Lo Kyun's appeal case finally arrives, and Marie helps him get dressed, doing his tie before they meet with his lawyer, Mr. Hyuk. Once Mr. Hyuk arrives, he hands an envelope addressed to Lo Kyun from outside of the country. From Seonju, Lo Kyun instantly has a sad expression when he realizes who the envelope is from. However, to his surprise, Lo Kyun reads a letter from Seonju, which admits that she has tried to right the wrongs she committed. Seonju and her children have been busy in China trying to have Lo Kyun's story published in a newspaper, and they have succeeded. Lo Kyun is very pleased, as this may also help boost his chances of gaining refugee status and avoiding deportation. Seonju's letter ends with her saying that Lo Kyun must survive, as that was what his mother wanted for him, which almost moves him to tears. The couple arrives with Mr. Hyuk at the courthouse, where they are greeted by the defectors' support group members, who have shown up in support of Lo Kyun. Just then, Marie gets a surprise phone call from Cyril. She answers the call, asking what he wants, and Cyril aggressively replies that she gets into a nearby car in which his henchmen are waiting for her. He then reminds her that she almost ruined everything for him, and that if she refuses to come, he will have his henchmen murder her boyfriend. Marie reluctantly agrees and informs Lo Kyun that she has somewhere to be, but that she will come back soon. Lo Kyun is confused, but he doesn't protest his girlfriend leaving too much. At Cyril's bar, he is sitting with Jerd, waiting for his henchmen to bring Marie to them. Marie is pushed into the room, worried about what Cyril will do to her. Cyril ensures Jerd that Marie will be ready for the next match, and that he placed the same bet as last time. However, Jerd has a different idea. He brazenly states that Marie is out of Cyril's league, and that she should come to work for him instead. This enraged Cyril, who attacks Jerd with an axe before he can finish him off. Cyril is shot and injured by Jerd's henchmen, though Cyril ends up dispatching all of them before finishing off Jerd. Marie, horrified by what she has just witnessed, is instructed by Cyril to hurry, as he plans for the two of them to escape to Amsterdam, where they will carry out their regular fixed matches. Meanwhile, Lo Kyun's court hearing is taking place, and he is now increasingly becoming concerned over Marie's whereabouts. Just then, he remembers Marie was staring at a black vehicle before she left, and realizes that she may be in danger. Lo Kyun gets up from his seat and informs Mr. Hyuk that he has to leave for an urgent matter, sprinting out of the courtroom. Back at Cyril's club, Marie protests Cyril's plans for relocation to Amsterdam, informing him that she will not go. She calls Cyril a monster, which he agrees with. Just then, Lo Kyun runs into the bar, calling Marie's name. Before Lo Kyun can get to Marie, he is struck by Cyril. However, Lo Kyun refuses to yield to the gangster, fighting back successfully as Cyril is injured. The two men continue their fight, and then Cyril is further injured when Marie shoots him. This opens up an opportunity for Lo Kyun and Marie to escape, and the two flee the scene. Cyril is then finished off by two others, who also served as Jerd's henchmen, while Lo Kyun and Marie hide in a nearby warehouse till the commotion is over. Later, Lee picks the young couple up and takes his daughter to the airport, where she can leave the country and not be arrested for being an accessory to murder. Before she leaves, Lee admits that he was wrong about Lo Kyun and that he truly is special. Marie reconciles with her father, admitting to taking out the anger she felt for herself on him. She states that she has felt responsible for her mother's passing, as she used to think that maybe passing away would be better than suffering while she was alive, but then felt immense guilt when she did eventually leave them. Marie admits to her father that despite everything, she still loves him, and he replies he loves her too as he holds her hand. Once inside, Lo Kyun takes Marie by the hand, informing her that she shouldn't worry about him and that she shouldn't be late for her flight. Marie begins to cry, stating that the couple don't even have a photo together and that she wanted to experience so much with him. Lo Kyun promises her that they'll certainly meet again, and when they do, they'll travel the world together and see all sorts of things. The two embrace, and Marie musters the courage to check in for her flight. 1 year later, Lo Kyun is still living in Belgium, now with full refugee status. He remarks how he achieved his initial objective and promise to his mother, to survive no matter what hardship came his way. He eventually leaves his job at the restaurant, remarking that maybe what he was after was not the right to stay, but the right to leave whenever he pleases. One day, when he is crossing the road, he sees a vision of his mother, who states that she is pleased to see that he is doing well for himself. Lo Kyun then arrives at the airport, his destination unknown, but knows that he can come back to Belgium when he chooses to do so. He then arrives at his destination, somewhere exotic. However, it isn't the place itself he is mainly concerned with, as after a year, he is reunited with Marie, who runs and embraces the man she loves.